morning, Vietnam. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of It's Only Monday podcast. This is a podcast to put a little pep in your step. This is a podcast to make a Monday feel like a Friday. This is the podcast to get your Mondays going. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode. I want to thank you for being here. First things first, what we always do is thank God for another day. That's our first blessing of the day. Listen, some people didn't get a chance to see one. You did. So thank God for another day. All right. So what are we talking about today? Today, we're talking about going from being stuck to unstuck, from being paralyzed to unparalyzed, from not moving to moving. Listen, today's episode, we're going to talk a lot about trying to unlock ourselves from going forward with things. And you might be thinking, well, that's kind of easy. I know. No, it might not be that easy. And there might be a lock. And I think we've all gone through this. And this is where I've kind of toyed with this all week. And I want to speak about this because I'm like, hey, it's something that I think we need to kind of reprogram our brains before we can actually do this, right? Which is having the thought pattern of how to go from being paralyzed and stuck in thinking mode to doing mode, right? You want to do something, but you're so caught up in all these other parts of it that you're not doing anything. And we'll talk about that. But before we even jump into that real quick, I want to say, listen, everybody that has subscribed to the channel as of late, you know, there was a huge influx of subscribers this past week. So I just want to say thank you guys for subscribing, tuning in, commenting, all those things. I appreciate that. I'm glad that this could connect with anybody in any way. And if it does, that's really the whole point of this. The point of this is to kind of, again, just share my thought process, the way I kind of think about things. If we were just kicking it one-on-one, and you know, hopefully it's something that you can take that will help you with whatever you're dealing with. And I love to talk broad here because I don't like to speak specifics because I want this to kind of hit, you know, anybody. So I like to keep the topics in a place where you can insert yourself easily. All right. So thank you for being part of this, being subscribing to this channel and taking this in and watching this. And again, this is like 5 years later, you're watching this episode. Yo, thank you for being here too. Really appreciate it. So with that being said, today we're talking about getting unstuck. But before we even talk about getting unstuck, let's talk about how you get stuck in the first place, right? So a lot of times we will be in a place where we're thinking that we want to do something, right? We want to do something. Whatever it is, insert what's the thing you want to do in there, right? And I'll give examples along the way. Let's say you want to build out a amazing brand of some sort. I don't know what it is, right? You could put any product, service, whatever it is. A lot of times we're so stuck thinking about especially nowadays, because it's all this planning and thinking and strategy and all this stuff that we want to do into this thing. And a lot of times, all that thought process and waiting and it's not the right time yet, and I gotta do this, and I gotta think about it this way, and what about this one? The time you're spending a lot of times doing that is the reason why you're stuck. And you might be saying, well, this has to be done before these things. Just hear me out here for a second. This is the key part that I want to talk about on this Monday morning. And I think hopefully it will get your wheels going and get you moving. And maybe by the end of this week, you're in a total different spot. Or by next Monday, when you come here, you're in a total different spot. But imagine right now you are in a forest. You're in the middle of the forest. You just woke up and you're like, yo, how did I get here? Right? You woke up in the middle of the forest and you have no idea how you got there. And your goal is now, I need to get out. I got to get out and get to civilization, get to find other people, get help, right? Okay. Do you think that, I'm going to ask you a series of questions. You tell me. Do you think if you waited for 24 hours or 48 hours and said someone's going to come get me, that's a good idea? That's A. B, you sit there and think of all the different ways you can get yourself out of this. And you just keep thinking about it. You're writing it down and you're just thinking, okay, I can do this, I can do that. maybe I'll do this. I can leave at nighttime and then maybe find something during the day. I can leave during the day so at least I have light to guide me and it's safer. You're just thinking about a whole bunch of things. Or C, you say, I have no idea where I am. I just know I'm in the middle of a forest and I'm just going to start walking. I'm just going to start walking and moving one way. You have no idea what direction is or anything. So A is wait till someone comes and saves you. B is just think about it all day long. Don't do anything, but just keep thinking about all the different ideas and strategies and stuff you can do to get out of there. Or C, start moving. Obviously, you know where I'm going with this. The answer in this conversation right now is C. Because yes, the answer could be multiple things, but for what we're talking about today, the answer is C. Start moving. See, I think right in the world we are right now, there is no tried and true plan really for a lot of things that we're doing in our lives. A lot of us are trying different things. We're trying different goals. We're trying to do all these different things. And it might be new territory. It also might be old territory. That's the crazy thing. One thing I want to touch on, and we'll touch on it as we talk about this, is like how things are, it's a different world we're living in right now. And things that worked maybe 40 years ago doesn't necessarily work right now for us. And we see that in so many different things, right? The new generations, we see how the same principles applied in the old generations worked for old generations might not work for new ones, right? Look at the world right now we're in, right? That's a perfect example, right? Things have gone array. And, you can't just, perfect example is the whole thing. Oh, you go to school, get a job, get out of school, go to school, graduate, get a job, and then you are good and can work one job for the rest of your, like, that's not, those days are long gone, right? So the whole point I'm trying to say is like, it's different now. So really and truly, and that's just one aspect. There's so many different things you can think about. There isn't this game plan that we can stick to for a lot of things. So a lot of it is new territory. So the reason why I say C is the answer, just start moving, is because a lot of times we're so caught on the strategy and the idea and trying to make the move at the right time, when, let me tell you, there is no right time. There is zero right time for anything. No right time. The right time is now, realistically, because it might not be the time, it might not be the end all be all where you automatically get to the answer the next day overnight, but it starts the motion of where you need to go. Listen, there's a perfect saying, like, God will bless you when you move, right? You can't just sit on the couch all day and say, God, please bless me and help me with this, and then do nothing and think it's just going to magically appear. No, there's work to be done. You need to do things, but it will happen with movement. You need to move. Once you start moving, that's when the blessings can come in. Okay, I'm gonna start doing this. I'm gonna start doing that. I'm gonna work towards this. That's where the magic can start happening, because then God can start dropping in the blessings here and there because you're moving. Think of it as like a checkpoint in a video game. If you start a video game and you just sit there and you don't move the controller, you're just like, you're not gonna go forward in the game. You're not gonna move forward in the game. But as you go forward in the game and you move, and whether you make mistakes or not, you learn, oh, this level, I'm supposed to do this. Okay, I'll restart, go again. You learn and you go forward. And during those times, you start picking up things along the way. It's the same thing. So the principle I'm talking about today to get us unstuck from whatever it is we're trying to do in life is movement. Movement. I think movement is life. Movement is what gets us, if you want to get to the whole point of like the science of like molecules and energy, like smashing into each other, there's that whole conversation. And kinetic energy. And I'm not going to act like I know exactly those things, but I know a little bit to understand a bit of it. But it's the same concept in life. So this morning, you might be planning on doing something. I don't know what it is you're planning on doing. You might be trying to open a bake shop, but you're thinking about, what's the best place and what's the best time and who's my, like all those things are great to think about. But the problem is I think we get this thing, people have called it analysis paralysis, right? Where you're analyzing things so hard, you're actually not doing it. versus a person can just start going and making mistakes, but as they're going, they're moving so fast that they're learning along the way, but because they're making the movement, things are happening. So you can have another person just constantly planning and plotting and, okay, I'm going to do it like this and this was going to happen and I'll wait to this time and that time. Never happens. Because then when you wait that long and you think like that there's a certain time where it's going to hit, whatever it is, and then you go and do it and then it doesn't, you're like, well, I just spent 7 months planning and plotting and it didn't happen the way I thought it was going to happen. Versus if you just started moving from day one and going and going and going, it's like a snowball effect kind of in a way. You pick up, more and more, and next thing you know, the snowball is growing and growing and growing. So today, if you are feeling like you are stuck, paralyzed, and not analyzing things too much, and you can't get past it, stop what you're doing and just start. There's a lot of parts of things, I think, in life where we can go back and cover it off. You know what I mean? Like, let's say working out, for example. It's a perfect example. If you thought you need to work out, and you're like, well, I need to get all these supplements first, and I need to, get a bunch of gym outfits, and then I need to get like, a trainer, and then a meal plan, and then, make sure, I have my membership for my gym and the right gym, and make sure that I can plan out my day. And then you're doing all this planning and you haven't done one thing. Versus saying, I need to work out. And just get up and go somewhere and just start. Like, even if it's a park. Because getting into that motion, you're going to realize, oh, wow, I feel sore. I'm not as strong as I thought I was, whatever it is. And then you're going to realize, oh, shoot, I need gloves because my hands are getting calluses from, being, okay, now I'm going to need shorts. Oh, cool. I think I need more weight. You're learning as you go and you're moving. And the next thing you know, you'll get all the things that you need to get. You can cover it off later. I think that's a lot of things that we're not realizing in society nowadays. There's a lot of things that we can cover it off later. Start now and then, okay, we'll backtrack later and fix that later. But if you have this thing in your mind where like it has to be on this railroad track, whatever it is you're doing, I just don't think it's the greatest way to go about everything. There's certain things in the world that needs to be on railroad tracks and stay, but there's a lot of things that needs to be just attacked in all ways, shapes, and forms until you can figure it out of what worked best. They have that saying, you throw ish on the wall and whatever sticks type thing. It's the same mindset. But I think, and I have an idea of why. Let me just check to make sure if we're still rolling. We still rolling. So think about it this way. There's a lot of things in life where, yes, it has to be on the train tracks, has to be on the railroad stuff, but there's a lot of things that needs to just kind of be, I don't want to say chaotic, but you just attack from all sides. And when you do that, it allows you to see what works. And when you see what works, it's easy to now say, okay, now we go in on this, in on that. Listen, the whole thing of being stuck or paralyzed and analysis paralysis and constantly thinking, and there's a reason why. That's what I wanted to say. I think now in society, we hear these stories of, let's say, success stories from people, right? People give success stories. And in these success stories, it's like this whole thing where you're like, oh, this happened. Let's say, I don't know, you can put whatever the success story. Let's say, for example, Gymshark. I'm saying use them because I've been using a lot of gym analogies. Gymshark is a company. I think you might be familiar with it. Successful company. It was like built really, really fast using influencers and stuff. Young guy who owns the company. But, hearing his story, he probably has, and other people too have these stories that are like, I planned it like this and I strategized and I thought about this and that. And I knew I was going to do this because this would work like this. And when you hear all these stories, everyone seems like they had it all figured out. Like they went in with this whole game plan. And don't get me wrong, some people did. But I'll tell you the real truth at the end of the day, realistically, for probably a majority of people, and a lot is that like it didn't all go to plan. I just saw a post the other day showing all these companies like Samsung and a bunch of other companies, and it showed what they were before they were what they were. Like Samsung was a grocery store. And again, I want to fact check this because like this is just a post I saw on Instagram, but supposedly Samsung was a grocery store before it was this electronics store. Nokia was like a toilet paper company. And this is because like obviously these companies are old, and that's another thing we have to think about too, right? A lot of times when we're going for things, you're comparing yourself to things that are. And I have an episode on this called about like comparing. I think I talked about this about comparing things to things that are, so much older. Like companies that have been around for over 100 years, and then you're just starting something, and you're kind of comparing yourself to that. Like, come on. But I digress. Let's continue what I was saying. These companies were other things before they became what they were, meaning they started off as one thing and eventually changed throughout the years. And there's probably many companies like that. Many people that are, starting one company as a service or a career, or in school as in a certain, you graduate in school as from a certain, with a certain degree or a certain field you go in, but then you end up doing something totally different in the actual real working world. So you realize that like things are constantly changing and moving, but that happens from movement, right? So we look at when it comes to these companies, what they used to be into what they are now, right? If you have the whole mindset of this like Elon Musk type mindset of I want to build this and I had this plan and that plan, and it seems like they have it all figured out before they even do it. Yes, there's people like that. But a lot of times there's a lot of things that happened along the way that were unexpected, they didn't know, and they fell into, and they saw what worked and what didn't. There's so many people like that for things. So I think today, this Monday morning, if you are feeling like you're not moving into what you need to be moving in, you're feeling stuck, you're feeling like you're paralyzed by just like trying to strategize your way. Listen, whatever you think in your head about how it's going to go, it's not how it's going to go. And I can say this for so many things. Like there's things where, yes, you can plan it out and kind of go in your mind and be like, all right, I think it's going to go like this, and I'll navigate this, and then this will happen and this will happen. But then what ends up happening is there comes a time where something totally unexpected happens. Good or bad, doesn't matter. But in that time, it changes things, right? Look at what was it? It's not too long ago where the whole world just shut down, right? That made a lot of people have to pivot in different ways. And look, many people, there's many people you can find that got super successful in that time, made things work in that time. That time actually ended up being the best time for some people, right? But that's because of movement and changing and going. And, it didn't go according to plan. They didn't, I'm pretty sure. And I've also seen the opposite where people were moving and shaking, doing great things. And then that world shut down. And the next thing you know, it totally slowed, changed things that they had going on, right? So you never know what's going to happen. But today, if you're in this Monday morning, the position you're in right now is, you would describe it as like, I don't want to say the lowest, but like there really isn't, you don't have much to lose, or there's not like you're at the beginning, you're at the starting, I know signs that might seem like this dreary mountain is above, and it's like, damn, I got to climb this mountain. But you're actually in a place, and if you just tweak your mind of realizing you're in this place of actually, damn, I'm in a spot where I ain't really got much to worry about. It's only up from here. When you think about it that way, it changes your whole perspective. Yes, it sounds crazy when you're looking at other people and other stuff and whatever it is you're trying to do, and you're like, oh man, to get up there, it's gonna take so long. But when you start realizing that there's nothing behind you, you're at the starting line. It's a different, you can just go. Now, if you're in, let's say, somewhere in the middle, and I think this is where a lot of people get stuck, because you're somewhere in the middle and you're thinking probably like, I've gained this much movement forward. You don't want to backtrack possibly in whatever you think that may be. And this is what I'm trying to say is you can't think like that. There's no backtracking, because the way things move and change, it's like a roller coaster waves at the end of the day, or waves in the ocean, the way life is. Something that you may look as a setback ends up propelling you so much forward later on. Some things that you may think right now are so great for you are going to end up setting you back. But again, that setback ends up might being something that now throws you even more forward. Like it's crazy how life is, right? Amazing. God designed this amazingly. But if you are in the middle, right? you may have that thought process of you've gained so much momentum forward, you don't want to go back. And you're probably in that like stuck phase of what's the next move? What do I do? Ugh. And you're just analyzing and strategizing and planning and plotting and dates and all this stuff. And it doesn't just go. Think of you're at a stop. It's like you were on the highway and you just stopped for an imaginary stop sign. Imaginary. It's not really there. Your brain is making it. And that's the thing. A lot of times we create these blocks or these stop signs in life that were never there. We put these random standards and things on us that no one else is putting on us. Or maybe other people are putting on us, but like, it doesn't matter. That's their standard that they think that they've created in their mind. But in reality, it doesn't really affect what you got going on. See, when you start looking at things like this, I just think it really changes and shifts your perspective. And that's all I want to do this Monday morning. I just want to shift your perspective. And this connects with one person out there. That's all I need. That one person that needed to hear this morning. This is for you. This whole episode is dedicated for you. So this random stop sign you create, and you're like, I'm on the highway going 100. Oh, there's a stop sign randomly. I don't see it. Does that guy see it? That girl see it? No. Okay, I'm stopping. And you're stopped. And now you're waiting. And you're doing all this thinking and plotting and planning. And, I got to do it like this. And it has to be done like, while everyone's just going. You're staying there for why? And you're like, okay, I don't want to move back. So I got to figure out how I'm going to just press on the gas. That's the problem. You're not pressing on the gas. Because then when you press on the gas, you realize that this stop sign or this traffic light will just automatically turn green. And it was really just waiting on you. Your gas, but once you hit the gas, it's going to switch. But analogy, but that's what's happening a lot of times. Now, if you're even past that further on, and you're still, locking yourself in, it's the same thing. A lot of times the standards we put on ourselves, whether we want to hold it to, I can't change it. I can't change it. Life is change. Life is constant change. Seasons change. The weather changes. People change. People grow. Like everything changes. So with that, we have to understand that we must continue and must move through the change. And it doesn't mean by moving through the change the same. It just means moving through it. And how we mold is how we mold. We'll be who we are. But things, how we adapt to it might change. And again, this goes for anything. Anything at all. You're working out and you're in a different phase of your life. You might have been, I'll use, for example, working out for me, my younger years, easy. Boom, pumped, great. Sometimes I take time off, come back, it's a little bit harder. It's not as easy, right? You might be coming off of multiple things, an injury. You might be coming off of, you let yourself get in the worst shape of your life. You might be coming off of, just, there's so many things. A sickness, I don't know. But you can't let it be like, lock yourself back into the prime time of the best time you did it and say, okay, I have to make sure no. Just go from where you're at now and just move forward and forward and forward. And you'll see how now all the blockages you had are gone and being stuck is gone. So this Monday morning, the homework for this week, what I want to leave you with this homework this week is, if this is you, and I'm speaking to you, that you feel stuck, you feel like you've just been planning and plotting, and even when you do take action, you might have this type feeling because you felt like you did all this planning and plotting and all this stuff, and then when you finally let it out, it just was like didn't go far. Think about like if you were like pulling an elastic band back with a bow and arrow, and you're like, and that was you planning and plotting and doing all this stuff, and it just went, and you thought it was gonna go. If that's you, for whatever it is you got going on in life right now, and because of that, you're back to planning and plotting and thinking and planning and I really got it has to be at this time and it can't. If that's you right now, I want you to this Monday morning, your homework this week is to just go. Whatever it is, do it. If it's you've been thinking about working out and thinking, I'm gonna wait till January 1st in a new year, so nah. right now, jump on the floor and just start doing push-ups. Start doing sit-ups. Start doing lunges. Start doing crunches. Start doing squats. Whatever it is, right now. Don't even. If you have time, go out. If you can go to a gym, go to the gym right now. Just start working out. If it's something that you're, worried about, I don't know, whatever it is. Again, I like to keep this broad. So insert whatever you got going on. Just do it. Just do it. This is not sponsored by Nike or anything like that. It's a really good saying because it really does mean what it says. And not even just that. It just has such a deeper meaning when you really think about it. And that's just the homework this week. So whatever it is that you got going on, that you got paused, that you aren't pushing through, that feel like you can't move through, just start, just do it. That's it. And if it's even something like, let's say you're a painter and you feel like, or you're a writer and you feel like you have block. And you're like, I just can't create anything. You're thinking too much about what people would want or audiences and all that kind of stuff. Forget that. Just do something for you. Do something for you, create it, and just start. It might never see the light of day, but just that action of going into it might be all you need. If you're a baker and you want to really start making your own baking stuff, don't wait for an order. Don't wait. Just start baking. Just do something. Right? So that's the homework this Monday morning. I want you guys to just do it. As long as it's something positive and something good, not crazy, just, the positive good things, do it. So I hope that pushed somebody this Monday morning, and I hope that hit you in the right way. Again, I want to thank you for tuning into another episode of It's Only Monday podcast. You could be anywhere in the world, and you are, because the power of the internet makes it possible. And again, I just want to thank everybody who has subscribed, commented, and now is watching. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you for being here and rocking with your boy. And I will see you next week, Monday, sharp, same place, same time. You know what it is. It's your boy JT. This has been another episode of It's Only Monday podcast. I'll see you later.